Oh, hi! On this week's episode of Monster Closet, we're going to discuss Grand Theft Auto and its evolution. Fucking asshole.
GTA 5, new game coming out. Let's compare it with 4 and 3.
Alright.
And the ones in between.
Tough to compare.
Because I always think 3 is
couple
San
in there.
Andreas, which isn't actually true. 3 was the one that was the first one that was actually 3D as
And
opposed
the,
to
and the
4.
PSP games and
Yes.
the
The
DS games.
PSD.
Right.
Exactly. All the different versions of this game
Probably
they
the mobile
made.
one in there.
Stories from Liberty City and Vice City and whatnot. Just started. What was your favorite of the series so far?
Well, 4 really hit home with me
Yeah.
because it was local. It was Liberty City. It was here. There was places around here I recognized. It mapped things that were familiar to
Okay.
me for the most part. I mean, vaguely, but it made me feel at home. Whereas, San Andreas is obviously this creation of the West Coast, really, not just Los Angeles, but the whole West Coast. And so, I would say 4 hit home. Artwork-wise and theme-wise, I enjoyed Vice City. It had, I think, the best theme.
Still my favorite
all
of the
of them.
series right now.
It had that Miami Vice theme going very well.
Yeah.
It was a much simpler environment, and it was a small, simple environment, which was good. It worked. It was effective.
Myself, I'm definitely going with Vice City.
Yeah.
I mean, more than just the themes itself, the music. I mean, child of the '80s. I mean,
Perfect.
everything about Grand Theft Auto to me has always been like about the music. So I mean, the music captures like the time period and just the massive references to even like '80s shows. I mean, one of the guys who's in that, like in the game, playing like your sidekick character in the Miami Vice style parody that they did is actually Tubbs.
Right. It is actually tough.
Before he was
Yeah.
psychic.
Right. But just to derail a little bit before we go further with this, because James does bring up an interesting point that's actually very current as far as news goes. Music from the Grand Theft Auto series. Interestingly enough, everybody's favorite company at the moment, Sony, has kind of fucked up a little bit as they accidentally leaked almost the entire set list from Grand Theft Auto 5. And I would have to say Rockstar didn't seem too happy about it.
Didn't seem thrilled, but at the same time, it wasn't the full list. So there's still some surprises.
True, but I do remember them saying they were quote unquote disappointed with Sony for it. But okay, to get back on track, I would have to say that I have to agree with James that Vice City has been my favorite of the Grand Theft Auto series to this point.
Clean sweep.
In that it is easy to say because, I mean, put aside all like game physics and what you're doing and actual gameplay, it was just the most fun. I mean, easily like the most fun. The music was, like James said, was great. I mean, everything about it just really kind of like, maybe, I mean, this is part of the thing is like maybe you kind of like, it's part of your life when you were playing it. Maybe you didn't have a lot going on, so you were able to immerse yourself into this game. But I think it's beyond that, and I just felt that like, I don't know, I was driving around in the game just having fun listening to the music.
It was cool to drive down South Beach, listening to virtual South Beach, listening.
Statute of limitations aside, if you had beaten this game by now, what's wrong with you? But that game was essentially Scarface.
Yeah, it really was.
Now I'm
A lot of the
confused
visuals
here.
were Scarface.
There was it Grand Theft Auto 3 or Vice City that actually featured the entire soundtrack from Scarface? It was a radio station that only played songs
That would have
from
likely
Blondie
have been
and
Vice
Kate
City.
Bush. That was actually.
No, it had to be Vice City.
It was it?
There were absolutely definitely songs in that game from
Yes,
Scarface.
they did do the whole Scarface soundtrack on one of the stations.
Are you excited about this game or what? What do you think?
GTA 5 is probably the game that I'm last excited about for this year. I mean,
Last?
There are games.
Oh, the last game you're excited about.
Excited, like truly excited.
Okay, not the
Like, there are
last game you
games
would
that
be
I
excited
want to
about.
play,
Right.
but there's nothing else coming out that I know that's even announced that I want more than Grand Theft Auto.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Few games excite me. There's nothing like Grand Theft Auto. It's this immersive game that takes over your life. Most games can't do that to me, not even Call of Duty. I mean, there's few games that will really immerse your life like these games. It's your life simulator.
Now, I'm just hoping that I know the scope of this game is going to be huge, but I'm hoping they don't put a lot of this shit. Now, this is kind of blasphemous to some people because San Andreas is almost a lot of people's, other than us, obviously here, favorite game of the series because there was a lot going on. I mean, the story was very intricate, and and it was a cool kind of journey. But like, I just am not interested in all the like the really mundane activities, like
Bodybuilding,
forcing to
dating.
lift weights and not eat food so your guy gets fat or skinny so he runs faster. Honestly, didn't you feel that subtracted from San Andreas? Did you feel that with 4 that it got better, that they didn't have you doing all the same
We don't
mundane
need a
crap?
life simulator.
I'm like, do you find that like troubling in games? Do you care
Well,
about that?
we
Is it
feel-
relevant?
We feel obligated to do things, so you don't have to do them. They don't really help the gameplay. They might give you an achievement point or something.
But to both of you, does it break you out of the?
No.
the-
I mean, only in the rare scenarios where you're kind of forced to do it, or you lose something at the end for not
You don't
doing
get a
it.
certain weapon because you don't
I
do
mean,
it.
it's like some of
Like
the
Mass
some
Effect,
of the
yeah.
aspects where you're kind of going to do something that you really wanted to knock out of the way, and then all of a sudden, Grand Theft Auto 4, you get like a call, "Hey, cousin, why don't you go see some titties?" or something
Right.
like that. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're trying to keep up your friendship meter with like
Well-
all your important people at the very least.
Well,
and-
Grand Theft Auto 4 would make you feel guilty if you didn't hang out with these poor guys because they'd call you whining after
You're
a
right.
while. Especially that guy that just got out of prison. He'd be like,
Nico,
he'd be
come
like-
on.
Remember the guy that got out of prison, the guy that lived up in the projects?
Yeah.
And he would just like be crying if
They
you
go, okay.
It's like, I'm sorry.
you know.
But I mean, I understand that. But do you feel like that's like just filler in these games, or do you feel like just to add time and to say that my game takes 100 hours to finish,
Replayability,
or do you feel like it's
content.
like an essential thing as to broadening the experience, making you more immersed?
It's gameplay padding, and it makes you feel more immersed in the world that they've created.
I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like there should be. I mean, maybe it's me, like we were talking about earlier, but I feel like there should be some penalty. You can only go veer off main quest for so long until like there should be some pressing time issues
And then someone
here.
should throw a yellow flag. Gotcha. Grand Theft Auto is almost one of those cross-generational games where you can have people of different ages who are going to identify more with any one particular
Sure.
game. We like Vice City more so because
Yeah,
we're
it's
children of the
definitely
age and
our-
focused
yeah,
on the age.
yeah, definitely.
You're going to have people who never had like a PlayStation 2 or a PlayStation 1. Their favorite game is going to be Part 4. That's
Right.
the game that they grew up with. That's the game they got when they were like 14 or whatever.
Well, they shouldn't have been getting.
Yeah.
San in defense of San Andreas, it did recreate our high school days. It was 1990s. It had Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, no,
Axl
music was
Rose,
good.
DJ.
Music was good.
I mean, I didn't like the theme of it. I couldn't relate to the characters. I'm not
Well, it
an
might
LA
have to do
gangster.
with-
And if you lived in California
Yeah.
or a huge fan of like the West Coast gangster style movies, you definitely that
Yeah,
would have been
definitely. It appealed.
Yeah.
It talked to certain people. Definitely,
It did.
hit home for certain people.
And that's
Whereas 4 hits home with me.
I'm black. I got it.
First movie. I'm going to give you a piece of obscure movie knowledge here. Ron Howard directed his first movie he ever directed. While he was filming Happy Days, he made a movie called Grand Theft Auto.
Oh,
Which
I don't know.
may or may not have anything to do with the popular series from Rockstar Games. However, there's just
educational.
Yeah, it was actually.
you will be educated by me every time we're here. I will teach you something about music or movies or media, and you guys can do the training something about games.
Something you can't understand. How I could just kill a man.